Hello, my name's Brian. I'm an agile management consultant, and earlier last year I left the smoke of old London town and headed north. Welcome to glorious Yorkshire. Now I'm using the agile management practices to get stuff done around the house. We have some grand plans on the roadmap. But plans are nothing. We've actually got to get stuff done. But if agility is just a bunch of silly words to you, then don't worry. Stick around. Just enjoy watching stuff getting done. Eventually, every problem manifests as a delay. Large organisations, they can move the delay around so that it lands on the least important piece of work. On my own, I don't have that luxury. The lean-to has had to be delayed by a few weeks whilst I deal with the various car crises. Those crises are over, so I can get back to the lean-to and I can start machining the softwood timbers.
The rafters supporting the roof are pressure-treated softwood. They need notches so that they can sit at an angle on the flat beams. I put together a simple template.
Didn't think that bit through when I designed the template, did I? Because that bit is going to get machined out. So only that bit is actually holding everything together. It's okay because I can clamp everything, but I may need to just stick a screw through there to stop it falling apart. So there is a 5mm gap between the template and the rafter. Something's gone wrong. The measurements are all correct according to my drawings, but the drawings must be wrong. That was my problem. That now is exactly 170. That needed to be turned through 90 degrees. Go back and check your plans, is the answer. I had completely forgotten that during the design process I had turned the timbers to reduce the height. The shaping needs to be done through the larger dimension. The first step is cutting the rafters to a manageable length prior to the more detailed machining.
Running a top-bearing router bit around the template produces a small lip, which is enough to take as a reference to allow me to push down with successively deeper router bits. Care needs to be taken as the softwood is softer than the oak I've been using. Just running the bearing along the soft timber can deform it and therefore distort successive cuts.
The templates are also used to locate the drill for drilling the holes that will secure the lower edge of the roof to the rafters.
There are 11 rafters to shape. I could do each one individually, swapping between router bits, increasing the depth steadily. I have got swapping router bits down to a fine art, but each swap still takes 60 seconds. It is more efficient to do all 11 rafters, swap bits, then do another pass across all 11. It's an example of where the handoff, the bit change, is dominant. Therefore, a larger batch, all 11, makes sense. Plus, there isn't really any value in a single rafter. More are needed before they become useful. The larger batch makes sense. 4 passes across the batch to make the initial cut against the template, extend the cut deeper, twice, then flip the rafter and use a bottom bearing bit to pick up the cut from the opposite side.
Securing the rafters to the timber framing and to the ridge beam against the wall, I'm going to utilise M10 coach screws, stainless steel, so they don't react with the oak. But in order to do that, I need to drill through at an angle that is perpendicular to the face there. So I'm going to need to craft up a jig to allow me to do that. I also need not just to go through with a drill bit like this, but to counterbore it with a Forstner bit so that the penny washer and head have somewhere to go, because the top surface there needs to be completely flat to allow the plywood for the roof to sit on. So the plan is to drill straight through this timber using the Forstner bit there, then cut an angle by running it through the table saw, and that'll give us the correct angle for going into the underlying timber. And then we just keep pushing this same Forstner bit through using the underlying timber. But we'll do all of that with a hand drill. remember, kids, these things are scary as hell. Right. Safe. But nothing else could have done that. Good.
A small timber stop to ensure the jig is properly positioned and the jig is ready. Like the routing templates, this ensures accurate repeatability. There.
That's good. That's going to work. It's a bit of a tight fit, but the ratchet spanner should work.
Batching time again. I use a 30mm Forstner bit to form the counterbore on all 11 rafters. Then I go back over the batch with an 11mm drill to form the hole through the rest of the timber. Batching means I swap drill bits once rather than 20 times, minimising the handoff between operations.
Deliveries are arriving. Roofing felt and bituminous paint to glue it down. Assembly is edging ever closer. Whilst I'm building the jigs, there is one last operation that needs to be done on the timber frame itself. The posts and beams need holes drilling in them for the dowels that peg the structure to stop the joints coming apart. A small piece of 18mm ply is cut to fit the mortise holes in the posts and beams, a spacer added, and then another piece of ply to locate the drill hole in the right place. More time is spent waiting for the glue to dry on the jig than is spent drilling the holes themselves. But the jig ensures that they are accurately and repeatedly positioned for all of the mortise holes. I'll only drill through the tenons once the frame is assembled. That's how it will fit upon the ridge beam when the ridge beam is attached to the side of the garage.
Everything is looking good. That is the major machining of the softwood done. It's the foundations next, but that is for another day.